Well, hello, we're in Deuteronomy. We're going to finish off chapter 30 today. So, we'll read from 11 to verse 20. We did the first half in the previous Deuteronomy video. So let's read it, reading from the NIV. Now, what I am commanding you today is not difficult for you or beyond your reach. It is not up in heaven, so that you have to ask who will ascend into heaven to get it and proclaim it to us, and so that we may obey it. Nor is it beyond the sea, so that you have to ask who will cross the sea to get it and proclaim it to us, so that we may obey it. No, the word is very near you. It is in your mouth, it's in your heart, so that you may obey it. See, I set before you today life and prosperity, death and destruction. For I command you today to love the Lord your God, to walk in obedience to him, and to keep his commands, decrees and laws. Then you will live and increase, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering to possess. But if your heart turns away and you are not obedient, and if you are drawn near to bow down to other gods and worship them, I declare to you this day that you will certainly be destroyed. You will not live long in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess. This day I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live, that you may love the Lord your God. Listen to his voice, hold fast to him, for the Lord is your life, and he will give you many years in the land he swore to give to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So there we have it. And the bit at the beginning, first few verses, you see them repeated or recalled in Romans chapter 10. And it's saying that, look, what God commands, what God requires of us is not actually difficult. And yet none of us can reach it. Israel never reached it. We will never reach it in our own strength. It's not that difficult, but it is that difficult because of sin. Sin corrupts us. And you can see it in politics, that people, and there's always fallings out or factions arising. You think, why don't you just get on with the job? Why do you have to cause all this trouble over there's wars between nations? Or we can see it in mundane events of life. And he says, see, I set before you life and prosperity, death and destruction. There's a very clear choice. If we live God's way, then it brings peace, it brings prosperity, it brings life. But if we choose to go against God's way, it brings death and destruction. And yet we will fight so strongly to go the way of death and destruction. We'll demand the rights to abortion. We'll demand the rights to what we think of as sexual freedom. The command is love the Lord your God and walk in obedience to him. It says, then you will live and increase, and then the Lord your God will bless you. It's so very simple, and yet also complicated, also difficult. Then you get the warnings. But if your heart turns away and you are not obedient, if you are drawn to bow down to other gods and worship them, I declare this day that you will certainly be destroyed. And it's what happened. Time and time again it happened, and then God would rescue them. And then finally, God said, enough is enough. And Babylon utterly destroyed Jerusalem and the temple. And at the end, Moses calls them, this day I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you. That I've set before you life. These commands were not difficult. They didn't have to go some weird place to find them. They had to go digging in some ancient building or whatever to find these commands. They'd been given to them in the 10 Commandments. It was all very simple. Moses says, choose life that your children may live, and that you may love the Lord your God. Listen to his voice and hold fast to him, for the Lord is your life, and he will give you many years in the land he swore to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I said it's the tragedy of the human condition. It would be so easy if it wasn't for sin. If we would just choose the Lord, but we can't in our own strength. And that's why Jesus needed to die on the cross for us, for you, for me, for millions of other people. Amen.